Hey guys, what's up? Um, Today for this tutorial, I would like to talk about what I call the Unity, and basically that's where you're kind of composing your signature. You've got a good render, you got a background you want to use, and when you put them together, it looks okay. It looks, you could be happy with it, but there's ways you can. Kind of bring them together using different components in Photoshop. I'd like to show you some of those now. So let's get started here. I found this signature on the internet. It's by Taden Skills. So shout out to him for making this. But I'm just going to use this as a quick example. This is a render from GTA 5. Most of their let's see here, I don't know what term to use, but their in-game art is 3D based, but outside of their video game world, most of their marketing campaigns and everything is done in kind of like a vector format, which is what this is. And then the background here is from a game called Need for Speed. As you can see, it's a 3D based graphics. You can see all the glares, reflections, and shines, and it just simply don't match the render. And for me, that's a big no-no. I don't like making stuff like this. It's a neat little pop-out sig, but shout out to Taden Skills for that. But today I'm going to teach you how to incorporate Unity, maybe some adjustments, maybe some gradients. I'm kind of going on a whim here, so let's just move here. Okay, I found this background today. Oh, by the way, I'm not using Adobe Photoshop CS2. I'm using CS6. However, I will help you if you are using CS2. I can maybe answer some questions or whatever you need. But it's basically the same idea in CS2. They're almost identical programs. But anyways, I found this background I wanted to use today. Kind of post-apocalyptic country road scene here. And I would like to use this render. And this is not your typical sig size. I wanted to do this one a little larger this time around, so we're going to try it out, see how it goes. Okay, let's just roll right about here. Anyways, okay, so just we got our background on, we got our render on now, and just looking at it, you can kind of see how the render separates itself from the background. For example, there's a lot of yellow hue in this picture in the render. We don't necessarily want that. We want the background and the render to match, kind of like they were drawn in the same picture or maybe by the same artist. These types of graphics that incorporate Unity, I think, look a lot better. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks here on how to do that. So oh yeah, another idea before I move on is making a some small art or maybe a signature, adjusting whatever layer is the brightest and more colorful. If you adjust it down to be kind of I want to say washed out, maybe tone down the contrast. It's a lot easier to go that route than it is to say make something that's dark and dim brighter. So if we were doing this vice versa, it probably wouldn't work out good. But what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the render and dimming it down a little bit. So let's get started. First thing we can address, obviously, is the brightness. It's all over the place. So let's go to that. We'll go to Image. While we have our render layer selected, we'll go to Image, Adjustments, Brightness and Contrast. Just lower it. Not too much, as you can see. There's a happy middle here, I'm sure. Let's see here. I like to take the contrast down a little bit first. Kind of helps with this, I think. And I am going to make this a little dark. You'll have to just use your own opinion on this. There's no set numbers. Each render and each background will be completely different. So I've messed around with the brightness and the contrast here. I'm going to use levels next. Levels is pretty interesting. Sorry for all the dead space, but I'm trying to think of, or the dead airtime rather. I'm trying to, like I said, I'm doing this on the fly here. I don't really have it planned out, so let's move on from that. I was trying to get rid of that yellow hue, but I can't seem to do it to a point where it's going to make me happy. That's not really a problem, but I'm just going to cancel out that for a second. Let me go back into that. And at this point, like honestly, it's a lot of kind of figuring things out for yourself. You know, determining what colors look best. Do they match? You're not really going to have anyone there to tell you, you know, hey, this looks better or this looks better. But I think we can work something out here. Okay. I think I've about done as much as I can using the adjustments here. Oh, and by the way, always make sure you have your render layer selected and that you're going to image and then adjustments. You don't want to use your the adjustments layers over here, the adjustment layers over here, as this using things from over on this side of Adobe Photoshop CS6 will apply it to the entire image. That's not what we're going for. We're just trying to adjust the render to be more like the background. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. As you can kind of see here, let's just recap that. The adjustments I make that can typically get me pretty close to a background I'm trying to adapt to is brightness and contrast, levels, and exposure. Between these three, you could probably adapt just about any color to match a background. As you can see here, let's see if I give you a before and kind of after shot here. Okay, yeah, this will work. This is the girl beforehand. This is before any kind of adjustments. And this one is after. As you can see, the one on the right, well, I guess that's pretty close to the background. That was a pretty good example. That was a pretty good example. The girl on the left just simply doesn't match this background. She doesn't go with the theme. But we were able to take that and turn it into this. And now we have created unity in this piece. And this isn't it. This isn't where we're going to stop. All I did was remove the kind of before layer there. Let's go into gradients a little bit, and I cannot remember for the life of me who I picked this up from. I created 3 new layers. Name one orange, one green, and one purple. I'm going to teach you this little trick here. As you can see, one of the most important things to creating unity in a piece, and this, you know, I guess I'm kind of more speaking color-wise, picking out your hues, your saturations, your contrasts, adjusting brightnesses. I guess all of this does kind of more pertain to color. But anyways, let's move on. Another easy way to do it, after you've made your adjustment layers, I'm sorry, not adjustment layers, but after you have made your adjustments to the render layer, sometimes you can use gradients to even kind of even further add unity. So let's do this here. I have some custom gradients I've made. I've got an orange one. Here's the settings for that. Got a green one. Got a purple one. And I really like this one too. We may use this one too. But anyways, just for the sake of this tutorial right now, let's use this one. I've got my gradient tool selected. You can right click on your paint bucket, click gradient tool. Let's use a orange, yellow, orange gradient. Just bring it across the middle. No science to this, just gonna lay it out. I'll just click lay it out. Let's do the purple one next. Okay, purple one's gonna go screen. Green one will go soft light. Orange we'll put on overlay. Okay, and we have this, but we're going to adjust those values and opacities right now. Opacity, we're going to bring this down. And again, at this point, I'm not doing any specific numbers. What I'm going to do is just what looks better. So I like to lower them all a little bit at first anyways. Okay, I got that first try. I like the way that looks. Some of you may want to know these values. So I got on screen, the purple layer, I have 40% opacity, 39% fill. Green is set to soft light, 39% opacity, 42% fill. Orange is overlay, opacity 45, fill 34%. Okay, and let's do a little before and after again. There we go. And this girl will not have any adjustment layers above her. Okay, so this is what we've done. This is the before render. This is the after render. You can easily see how much better this matches its background. Now, Grimhawk and Lady Pike, some of you may know them, some of you may not. They were two graphic artists, and they were notorious for their ability to blend and merge and compose pieces. They were absolutely amazing. I'm not quite as good as they are. They're just freaks of nature, just pure skill, amazing. But anyways, I think using these steps that I just taught you will definitely help you kind of unify your pieces. And that's just I guess this is just a small tutorial on some adjustments and gradients, but feel free to mess around with gradients more. You could always play with them. You don't necessarily have to use 3. I've seen people use 20, and I've seen people use 1. But I think Ath may have taught me how to do this, or I may have seen in one of his tutorials. It kind of looks familiar. But anyways, orange, green, purple. And kind of creates a pretty cool effect. Another thing that can create some unity, you always want these gradient layers to be on top, by the way. So if you're going to make a new layer, bring it below these gradient layers. Another thing that can create unity, let's grab us a brush tool. We're going to pick black, solid black. Make sure it's set to soft. Put the opacity around 80, and this is going to do some lighting effects. It's going to give it some shade. And there we go. Some people like to set it soft light. I may just leave it on normal. I don't know. I'll mess with the yeah, I'll leave it on normal. Maybe mess with the feel a little bit too. Yeah, I like that. Okay. And that was just to set some shadows in, and what I did is I set that on the top layer above the render and the background. Again, that kind of, you know, it just helps bring it together. Let's do a light layer. And this is how I believe I've already taught you guys this, so I won't go into this too much. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a directional lighting here. I don't use any filters, hardly, rarely, to render lighting effects or lens flares or anything like that. I do just about everything myself. And as you can see, I kind of created this area to be kind of the darker area. So I'm just going to add a bit of color here, a little bit of lighting. There we go. I'll just lower the opacity, lower the fill. And something really cool I've recently started messing with is curves. I'm going to give you an instant trick to instantly kind of add this color and this unity to pieces. It works pretty quickly. You are going to use an adjustment layer. You're not going to make an adjustment like I said before up here, just where you will alter one image. We're going to do an adjustment layer. We're going to click curves. Okay, when it comes up, it's going to be RGB. This does control the red, the green, and the blues. About right here, you're going to click. It's going to make it a little brighter. And do it down here as well. You can kind of alter it. Basically, you want a little S effect. Nothing dramatic. Don't get dramatic on me. Okay, it quickly goes awry. But just a minute S effect will suffice perfectly. Okay, there we go. Come down to your blue layer. We're gonna slightly raise it, and it's set in 2 dots, by the way. There's one on each corner here. You're gonna grab this dot, slightly raise it. You're gonna take this dot, slightly lower it. And there's the before, there's the after. It just changes things up. You really have to tinker with things, but some of the things I've talked about in this tutorial should help you, and I'd like to see your turnouts. If you use something like this, or use some gradients, or use that little curves trick I just taught you, hey, post it. I'd like to see it. But until next time, guys, take it easy.